I say okay.
Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Max.
Oh, I'm Chris.
And this is Movies Actually, where we give you an honest review of the movies we've meddled with so mischievously over at Maybe Movies. And this time, we're talking about Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. A great movie. The 1998 Terry Gilliam directed film starring Johnny Depp, Benicio del Toro, Christina Ricci, Gary Busey, Ellen Barkin, Tobey Maguire, Cameron Diaz, and Harry Dean Stanton, Flea, Christopher Maloney, Jeanette Goldstein, Vern Troyer, and Tim Thomason, amongst many other recognisable faces.
You forgot Penn from Penn and Teller.
Boo. You should have told me beforehand.
What a film.
Well, yes, what an amazing, amazing film. I was a latecomer to this movie. Did anybody actually see it at the movies?
No,
No.
definitely not.
Oh, okay, so we're all latecomers to the show. Personally, I didn't see it until about 2006, 2007. I remember it was around then because Blockbuster still existed, and it was a random hire not long after I moved into the flat where I live. I think I just chose to watch it because it was a Terry Gilliam film. I've always enjoyed Terry Gilliam films, and I was not disappointed. What about you guys?
I kept seeing the poster all the time. That's what first caught my
It's a pretty trippy poster.
Yeah, it's an iconic poster, and I watched it quite late, and I loved it. I thought it was a really good film. Over the last few years, I watched it. Yeah, again because of Terry Gilliam, just because I was curious to see how he was going to do a story like that, and
Oh, of course, right, yeah.
but that's mine.
This would have been... So I would have seen this probably around... about 2000? I think about 2001.
Okay, so you're probably the earliest out of all of us to have seen
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, this would have been... I think I watched it around my friend Polly's in Silverstone, because I was living in Northamptonshire at the time.
Oh, right.
And I think it was a recommendation from her. Well, she'd mentioned it, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen it. And she was like, what? Sit down,
Okay.
stick it on.
I can see why it's one of those movies.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It is one of those movies. It's probably the most coherent of Terry Gilliam's films. Like, in terms of its sheer plotting. I know it's completely mental, but it's still coherent.
Yes, you know, yeah, you can follow it where it's flashing backwards and flashing forwards and things like that.
Yeah.
It sequentially makes sense, yes.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does. There is a very twisted logic involved in it, but it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I kind of slightly pleased when I went to the States. I did go to Vegas for I had one night in Vegas.
Oh, so you've actually seen the strip, have you?
Yeah, and I did even... I can't remember which one it was, but I made the point of sitting outside of one of the casinos, having a beer, reading the book.
Oh. Cheesy AF, but I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, of course you have to.
Yeah.
It's like me buying my copy of Harry Potter at King's Cross Station.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it is a fantastic film. I think it was one of those ones that when I first saw it, I just thought it was an amazingly trippy film. And then it was only after that I found out who Hunter S. Thompson was, and this was based on kind of on his life and on the book that he's written and all the books that he's written.
Yeah, it was the same for me. I mean, I'd heard his name before, but I didn't know much about the man. I mean, mostly, like, when the film came out, people talked about it because they said about it how it was like one of those unfilmable books. And, of course, Terry Gilliam went ahead and filmed it.
Well, apparently it took them 10 years, it took the producer 10 years to get it off the ground.
Oh, wow. You know, somehow I'm not surprised.
They went through a number of different actors. People like, I think originally they'd looked at because of the time when they'd started doing it, so I looked at Nicholson and a few other people, but all by the time that they actually came to going into pre-production.
So what he was thinking about it in the 80s? Okay, yeah, that would make sense with Jack Nicholson around that age.
But it wasn't Terry Gilliam, it was the producer, who's she apparently, I can't remember her name,
Oh.
but it was her project.
Oh, I just assumed it was a Gilliam love child, like they usually are.
He wasn't even the original director. Alex Cox was the original director.
Who?
Alex Cox, so the guy who did Repo Man, and sort of films like that.
Oh, well, that's a very trippy movie I've never seen, but
Yes.
I know how trippy it's supposed to
Yeah.
be. Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
What you got in the trunk?
Oh. You don't want to look in there.
But he walked off set, creative differences, so they drafted Gilliam in, and he pretty much rewrote the screenplay in a matter of days to fit his own vision.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, originally they wanted John Cusack was in the frame for it.
For what? For
Raoul Duke.
really?
No.
But it was
no.
Again, this is Thompson as well. As soon as you saw Johnny Depp, I said, "No, I want him."
I mean, obviously, I can't fault. I've loved Depp ever since I first saw him. He's a great actor. But even if you were not thinking about Depp, I wouldn't have chosen Cusack for that role. He lacks that physicality. You need somebody who's more of a character actor, like Depp is.
Yes, exactly.
And Cusack's not really that kind of dude. I cannot believe they were thinking about him. That's so weird.
I think at one point, again, even before it even got to the stage of being properly optioned, just in backroom talks, they were originally thinking of the Blues Brothers having Aykroyd and Belushi. Can you imagine John Belushi as Dr. Gonzo?
Yes, I can see that. That might have worked. That might have worked. It still would have been a very, very different movie.
Yes.
But it might have worked.
It would have been interesting if they'd have got him for Where the Buffalo Roam, which was the earlier version with Bill Murray as Hunter S.
Which I
Thompson.
haven't seen.
Yeah, it's a good film. It's very different, a very, very different kind of... There's some of the same energy as Depp has, but Depp kind of dials it up to 11.
Who's playing Hunter in this one?
Bill Murray.
Oh, Bill Murray does, right?
Yeah.
See, I can see Bill Murray playing him. That kind of works with his quirkiness and his off-the-wallness. But my understanding that Where the Buffalo Roam was made quite a bit before Fear and Loathing and the Rum Diaries.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
That was made
Rum
in the 80s.
Diaries 2006.
Yeah.
Ah, right. So that was the last one made. Right.
The
Yeah.
infamous meeting of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
Yes. It was a good movie, but all of the
Oof.
aftermath.
Let's not go into that.
Yeah, let's
There's
not.
been enough of that already. But I mean, this it's a surprise one. It is a cult movie. And like a lot of cult movies, it didn't do well. It was made on a budget of 18 million and only took 13.5 at the box office.
I am surprised because Terry Gilliam does have a reputation, and you'd thought he would have gotten. I would have thought he would have broken even at least.
I think possibly because this was like one of the first big films that he'd made since Baron Munchausen, which didn't do too well,
That was a famous catastrophe.
which is a shame.
I've never seen it.
I really like
I really needed to see it, but I haven't.
I really like it.
But I do remember it being a catastrophe. That's Robin Williams and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, and would you believe a very young Sarah Polley as well?
Oh dear me. So getting back to the movie itself, how do we talk about the plot? It's not like we can spoil it. It's too insane to really be spoilable. It's a slightly fictionalized version of events from Hunter S. Thompson's own life, where he was sent to cover a couple of events at Las Vegas in the 70s.
Yes, the Mint 400 rally, and there was a DA's seminar on the influence of drugs on young people.
Well, that's right. Yeah, that's the one. Ungodly amounts of drugs are consumed, and stuff and shenanigans happen.
The devil ether.
To say any more would be pointless and would be spoilery. So,
That's all you need to know. Again, not surprisingly, you don't need to say it. This is one especially for the adults.
oh yeah, absolutely. This is definitely not for the kids.
But yeah, do check it out. I seem to remember there was a weird moment when I was in California when I got back from Vegas, and it was on the TV. So there was that. I was like, I'm being stalked by Hunter S. Thompson.
So what do we love about this movie? I mean, like I said, it's a classic bit of Gilliam work that is quite coherent, and for that it's really good because you can show it to people and kind of give them an idea of what Terry Gilliam does without making them dive into the deep end of his stuff.
Absolutely, and it's also, I think, probably it's a brilliant visual representation of what Hunter was attempting to achieve with gonzo journalism.
It's bold in its depiction of drug experiences. It really is off the walls, and the amount of effort they went to create certain scenes.
Yeah. It's the lizard scene that drives.
I was going to say the lizard lounge is that takeaway piece, but that must have taken them so much time to get that right.
Yeah, I want to look into that more, how they made that, but it couldn't have been easy, all cheap.
No, because that looks like they're all practical effects by the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
There must be some. If somebody's got a bit of that, send it to us because we'll put it on set.
Oh my god! I just suddenly realised that's what he's wearing at the end.
Well, the tail.
When he wakes up, he's wearing one of the lizard's tails,
Yeah.
and the striders are
Yeah.
lizard feet.
Yeah.
I recognised that, but I was like, where did he get this tail from? Where did the lizard feet come from? And I was like, no, it's one of the lizards from the Lizard Lounge.
Makes more sense now, doesn't it?
He must have hunted it down in his drug fury.
One of the best anecdotes I heard was because the adrenochrome in there, that's an invention of Hunter's. He put it in the book. It doesn't exist.
Ah, right.
But apparently...
I've heard rumours about that my entire life.
It doesn't exist. There are chemicals that can be used for medicinal purposes that have similar sounding names.
Ah, right.
But they're not the same thing. But apparently when they were filming this, somebody came up to, or shortly after it was released, someone came up to Terry Gilliam and went, "Oh wow, man, the scene with the adrenochrome, man, you've got it spot on." And Terry Gilliam was just like, okay. Just going to sit there and take it without knowing it's a complete lie.
Yeah.
But again, as I say, that's the thing. The whole thing with gonzo journalism is it's not about the story. It's about
the experience.
The experience, yes. And this will definitely give you a taste of that. Did you know there was because obviously all of the artwork for the gonzo journalist was done by Ralph Steadman. There used to be a genuine Ralph Steadman at the Matter Market.
Oh, okay.
It was in the green room. You know, there was that big picture that was hung up in the green room that looked like an underground, like the underground with which they have the station names on.
My mind's a blank. I took way too many drugs.
But yeah, that was
just to
a
get
genuine...
into this film, but yeah.
Well, of course.
Mild tangent, folks. There,
Just a mild one, yes. Anyway, but definitely, yeah. If you are looking for a wonderful piece of classic Gilliam and classic Depp cinema, I mean, it's arguably one of his best roles. After everyone sort of looks at Captain Jack, and he's done so many good roles. I mean, this, Ed Wood, and all the others, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely not Willy Wonka.
Precisely.
It's definitely not.
Definitely not.
Kind of feel like I'm wrong for saying this. Depp embodies the character. And that's stupid for me to say, because I don't know Hunter S. Thompson. I've never met him. I haven't even seen that much footage of him. But I can see that so much effort went into actually physically embodying that character and the circumstances that he was in. Bravo!
Yeah.
Apparently, as well, last little bit of trivia I did find out, Thompson himself shaved his head for the part.
Ha!
Thompson himself.
Shaved Johnny Depp's head for the part.
Oh, Johnny Depp's head?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I thought he meant his own head.
Oh, no, his own head. No. Yeah, he got to... He was... Because he stayed with him
if
for
Johnny
a while.
Depp admitted, like, he agreed to have his hair.
Yeah, he wouldn't look in the mirror, though,
Yeah.
apparently. You couldn't look in the mirror while he was doing it.
That's what it'll do to you.
But anyway, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it is definitely 2 thumbs up, and maybe a couple of toes as well.
Indeed. It's definitely a 2 thumbs up from me. How about you? How do you feel about the movie?
Do we rate things in 2 thumbs up as in one
One,
thumb
2,
up, and then it could be one
or
thumb
2
down?
However you feel. Go mad with your thumbs.
As a film, 1 thumb up, and technicalities, but everything about that is a double thumbs up as well.
So, if you wanted an interesting and somewhat trippy experience, check it out.
Definitely recommend it.
Too right. Now, if you'll excuse us, we need to go on holiday by mistake.
Let's not mention Monty.
No.
As always, guys, we'll see you next time.
It's because he's a terrible...
A bless.